Soldiers are the best the United States has to offer. On this field, we have a varied group. The oldest is Specialist Vila Fuerte at 42 years of age in our Charlie Company. The youngest is Private Hughes at 17 years old in our Echo Company. We have parents, 54 collective children in the audience today. In Alpha Company, Specialist Thakur is a mechanical engineer, and Specialist Akoto has a law degree.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are about to witness the retirement of 3 lifelong soldiers. All soldiers begin their journey by graduating from basic combat training. Over the years, there have been changes to how the Army conducts basic training. However, many things remain the same. It was during basic training that these 3 soldiers were first introduced to the Army values. It is where they learned the importance of teamwork and that the Army truly is a family. That sense of team and Army family is still embedded in what is done here today. Over 20 years ago, these soldiers took the same oath to defend this nation that your loved ones on the field have taken. We salute these great soldiers as they pass the torch of freedom along to the newest generation of soldiers, your loved ones standing on the field today. A certificate of appreciation from the President of the United States will be presented to those retiring today. It reads, I extend to you my personal thanks and the sincere appreciation of our grateful nation for your contribution of honorable service to our country. You have helped maintain the security of the nation during critical times in its history with a devotion to duty and a spirit of sacrifice in keeping with the proud traditions of the military service. I trust that in the coming years, you will maintain an active interest in the armed forces and the purpose for which you served. Those who follow in your footsteps will draw inspiration from your commitment, dedication, and sacrifices made to ensure the protection of our American freedoms. My best wishes to you for happiness and success in the future. A certificate of retirement from the Chief of Staff, United States Army, is also presented to those retiring today, and to the spouses of today's retirees for their dedicated service to our nation. At this time, Lieutenant Colonel Goltry and Command Sergeant Major Fazio will recognize our retirees for their service to the United States Army. Major Hector Garcia Rodriguez, having served honorably for 22 years of service, is placed on the retirement list effective 4 April 2024. The nation salutes Hector Garcia Rodriguez, Major, United States Army, retired. Master Sergeant Ronald Bonilla, having served honorably for 21 years of service, is placed on the retirement list effective 4 April 2024. The nation salutes Ronald Bonilla, Master Sergeant, United States Army, retired. Sergeant Monasia Young, having served honorably for 8 years of service, is placed on the retirement list effective 4 April 2024. The nation salutes. Monasia Young, Sergeant, United States Army, retired. Please join me in a round of applause for our retirees and their families. Although newly retired, they will always be part of our Army family. The soldiers most responsible for the training of these soldiers are the drill sergeants, who are carefully selected by the Department of the Army. The drill sergeant campaign hat and badge have been a stoic symbol of professionalism and pride since 1962. At this time, the drill sergeant of the cycle for Charlie Company, 1st Battalion, 34th Infantry Regiment, Drill Sergeant Michael Marchese, will recite the drill sergeant creed. We ask that all drill sergeants, past and present, please stand for the reciting of the drill sergeant creed.
The drill sergeant creed. I am a drill sergeant. I will assist each individual in their efforts to become a highly motivated, well-disciplined, physically and mentally fit soldier, capable of defeating any enemy on today's modern battlefield. I will instill pride in all I train, pride in self, in the Army, and in country. I will insist that each soldier meets and maintains the Army standards of military bearing and courtesy, consistent with the highest traditions of the U.S. Army. I will lead by example, never requiring a soldier to attempt any task I would not do myself. But first, last, and always, I'm an American soldier, sworn to defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, both foreign and domestic. I am a drill sergeant. This will defend.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lieutenant Colonel Goldtree and Command Sergeant Major Fazio will now present the awards. The outstanding Drill Sergeant of the Cycle for 1st Battalion, 34th Infantry Regiment is Drill Sergeant Michael Marchese from Charlie Company. The Soldier Leader of the Cycle for Bravo Company is Private First Class Jessica Holmes. The Soldier of the Cycle for Bravo Company is Private Julian Eagleroad. The Soldier Leader of the Cycle for Charlie Company is Private Timothy Keene. The Soldier of the Cycle for Charlie Company is Private Gabriel Mikesell. The soldier leader of the cycle for Delta Company is Specialist Taylor McKee. The soldier of the cycle for Delta Company is Private Leah Nieves. The soldier leader of the cycle for Echo Company is Private Haley Johnson. The soldier of the cycle for Echo Company is Private Noah Jordan. Ladies and gentlemen, the commander of the 1st Battalion, 34th Infantry Regiment, Lieutenant Colonel Brennan S. Goldtree.
Good morning, Lette Dragons, and welcome to beautiful Fort Jackson, South Carolina, where we make American soldiers. It's an honor and a blessing to have so many family and friends here to support our graduating soldiers today. Major General Harder, Mrs. Harder, Colonel Hutton, Colonel Utlot, Command Sergeant Major Bleiler, Mr. Lawler. Fellow leaders, and most importantly, the family and friends of the 1st Battalion, 34th Infantry Regiment, the Lette Dragons. Thank you for participating in today's graduation ceremony here on Hilton Field and virtually at home and across the globe. Today we bid farewell and safe travels to 3 outstanding Army leaders, Major Garcia Rodriguez, Master Sergeant Bonilla, and Sergeant Young, as they retire from the Army. Their commitment to their soldiers will have a lasting impact for years to come, and we cannot thank them enough for their many years of service. I would also like to take a moment and extend my gratitude to 3 very important groups, both here and online, to our veterans, our retirees, and our Gold Star family members. Your sacrifices both in and out of uniform validate the importance of basic combat training. Your service and continued support to this great nation and Army cannot and will not be overlooked. Please, if you are able to and choose to, stand and be recognized. Thank you. I would also like to recognize the 282nd Army Band. Your professionalism lends class and dignity to today's ceremony. Now let's talk about why we're really here, to celebrate the accomplishments of these 867 newly minted American soldiers standing in this formation. They are all volunteer. They hail from almost all 50 states and territories. We have 19 countries represented in this formation, from 6 to the 7 continents. We still haven't had representation from Antarctica, maybe one day. These soldiers are the best the United States has to offer. On this field, we have a varied group. The oldest is Specialist Vila Fuerte at 42 years of age in our Charlie Company. The youngest is Private Hughes at 17 years old in our Echo Company. We have parents, 54 collective children in the audience today. In Alpha Company, Specialist Thakur is a mechanical engineer, and Specialist Akoto has a law degree. In Bravo Company, Private Cole speaks 6 different languages. Private Daniels won the South Florida Powerlifting Championship in 2022. And Private Freeman is the 8th generation of her family to serve in the U.S. Army. In Charlie Company, Private McIntyre used to race motocross, and Private Guyam Yor was a pastor in Ghana before he joined. In Delta Company, Private Roberts was a licensed optometrist, and Private Avila's sister is a drill sergeant in our brigade, not in our battalion. Lastly but not least, in Echo Company, Private Hamlet's great-great-grandfather fought for the Union Army in the Civil War as part of the 19th Infantry Regiment, and Private Miller was a makeup artist for quarterback Drew Brees. Very interesting fact. Why did they volunteer? Was it a sense of duty, family occupation, or money for college? Was it to provide for their family, to test oneself, or to escape from a dark place? Whatever the reason, they now have one thing in common. They are all U.S. Army soldiers. Since their arrival to Fort Jackson 10 plus weeks ago, I can report that your soldiers have learned and become proficient in the basic art and science of combat. They've learned how to be comfortable. They've learned how to be comfortable being uncomfortable. They've learned the value of teamwork and trust. Trust in themselves, their team, and their cadre. They face both mental and physical challenges while here. At times, they may have doubted if they had the ability, but quickly learned just how capable they really are. They did this not by themselves, but under the careful, watchful eyes of their drill sergeants and their cadre. They did it as a team. Please join me in a round of applause for our drill sergeants, our soldiers, and our cadre. Basic training is a continuous assessment. We look at the drive and determination in every soldier. You may have heard words like the hammer, the anvil, and the forge. These single and multi-day field exercises were designed to test not only how well each soldier learned what was taught, but also the grit and ability to persevere and thrive under an increasingly rigorous set of conditions. In the forge alone, these soldiers covered over 35 miles on foot, starting with a 10-mile foot march and ending with a 10-mile foot march, carrying a 30 to 40-pound load on their backs. All successfully completed a series of arduous tests, proving their tactical and technical competencies to join the ranks of our profession of arms. Nothing was given to them. They had to earn it, and they did earn it. So now what? Some will go on to be helicopter mechanics, others intelligence analysts. Some will be religious affairs specialists, and others communicators. Some will handle finance and play in the Army band or become logisticians. Some may even join our nation's special operations forces. It doesn't matter their military occupational specialty or MOS. They are all part of the greatest volunteer army the world has ever known. So to the soldiers on the field, we are proud of you. We are honored to be your first unit of assignment. Without you, we are incapable of promoting peace and a strong national defense. However, with you, our future is bright. Those who stand before you, ladies and gentlemen, represent what is best about America. Thank you for celebrating today with us, and may God bless the United States of America. Always forward, strike strong, and victory starts here.
Today's soldier is, above all, a warrior, adaptive, confident, and competent. As a soldier, you are totally committed to the warrior ethos, grounded in Army values, and determined to destroy enemies of the United States of America and her allies. The United States Army Soldier's Creed embodies this commitment. To the soldiers on the field, the uniform you wear at this moment is more than an outward display of your vocational choice. Your uniform is a symbol of a nation, and an unspoken assurance to all who see you that you are a willing and able protector of the freedoms fought so arduously for by all who have gone before and those who will bravely come after. You have become what you set out to be, a soldier in the United States Army. The Soldier's Creed is your declaration of your unshakable commitment to the ideals this nation was founded upon and will continue to guarantee. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand as our battalion soldier of the cycle, Private Noah Jordan, presents a certificate of appreciation to the retirees and leads the soldiers standing before you through the reciting of the Soldier's Creed. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Pass and review! Pass and review!
In consideration of those around you, we ask that you please remain seated and in the bleachers until all soldiers have passed the reviewing stand and the conclusion of the ceremony is announced. As you are approached by the American flag, it is appropriate to rise and remain standing until it is passed to your right. Once the ceremony has concluded, family members of awardees may meet their soldier under the canopy located to the left of the bleachers. All other family members and friends, please meet your soldier on the field once instructed by the narrator by respective companies. Passing the reviewing stand is the commander of troops, Major Owen, and the battalion staff. The 282nd Army Band is commanded by Chief Warrant Officer 3, Kevin Pitt, and Drum Major, Staff Sergeant Cameron Chandler. Alpha Company is commanded by Captain Roberto Quinones. First platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Dennis and trained by Drill Sergeant Cooner. Second platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Summers and trained by Drill Sergeant Cruz. Third platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Sherman and trained by Drill Sergeant Baker. Fourth platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Evans and trained by Drill Sergeant Juarez. In the rear of the formation is the First Sergeant, First Sergeant Kirk Goff. Bravo Company is commanded by Captain Jordan Roth. First platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Williams and trained by Drill Sergeant George. Second platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Schott and trained by Drill Sergeant Camus. Third platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Boswell and trained by Drill Sergeant Harrington. Fourth platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Stanley and trained by Drill Sergeant Ngayon. In the rear of the formation is the First Sergeant, First Sergeant Scotty Wilson. Charlie Company is commanded by Captain Peter Degan. First platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Silva and trained by Drill Sergeant Holland. Second platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Fernandez and trained by Drill Sergeant Gonzalez. Third platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Rivera and trained by Drill Sergeant Johnson. Fourth platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Etheridge and trained by Drill Sergeant Herbert. In the rear of the formation is the First Sergeant, First Sergeant David Schlapak. Delta Company is commanded by First Lieutenant E.J. Folk. First platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Girk and trained by Drill Sergeant Bergman. Second platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Richard and trained by Drill Sergeant Sosa. Third platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Aleko and trained by Drill Sergeant Alston. Fourth platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Grow and trained by Drill Sergeant McCann. In the rear of the formation is the First Sergeant, First Sergeant Christopher Mueller. Echo Company is commanded by Captain Ebony Stone. First platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Fisher and trained by Drill Sergeant Henry. Second platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Freeman and trained by Drill Sergeant Berger. Third platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Rosado and trained by Drill Sergeant Diaz. Fourth platoon is led by Senior Drill Sergeant Galindo and trained by Drill Sergeant Hannon. In the rear of the formation is the First Sergeant, First Sergeant Travis Swope.